So the next topic is AMD on mobile computers in 2021. I mean, thankfully for the market and the end users, consumers out there, we're finally seeing an AMD on what I would call high-end laptops.
Yeah.
Basically, at the moment, they're really AMD CPU plus NVIDIA GPU pairings.
Yeah.
For now, anyway.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, for most of 2020, apart from, I think, the Asus ROG G14, which you might argue is not the highest end kind of laptops here. I think at most it ran at 2070.
Yeah.
We really weren't seeing AMD chips in the premium, of premium kind of laptops out there. It was really kind of low to mid tier. But this is all changing. I mean, Asus is a good case in point. They've put AMD in their dual screen Zephyrus Duo, lots of their high-end stuff, and they're pairing it with 3070s, 3080s.
Yeah.
So you're finally getting that high-end kind of AMD laptops. Yeah. We're not seeing any RDNA 2 mobile GPUs yet. I think that comes in the second half of 2021. As much as I know. I've got some opinions on that as well. You've basically, as you said, you've got I think it's a Strix, right?
Yeah, so it's a I went for a G17, so a 17-inch screen, and it's the Ryzen 5800H with the NVIDIA 3070 inside. And I chose I kept with a 1080p screen. So 1080p screen with 300 hertz refresh. So that was the config I went for.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, I've been really happy with that. So I've had that for about, I'm gonna say, a week and a half, maybe 2. That's what it feels about. Yeah, but it's awesome, man. I guess it's the most. How should I say? I've had a number of gaming laptops over the time with MSI, Asus ones. Yeah, my previous one that I'm just using to record this stuff is an old one which I've had for many years with a 970M in it, which still does really, really well. It's still really powerful for what you got, but it's a noisy beast in comparison to the new one that I've got. So and the really good stuff is that the amount of additional tools you have on these new on the new Asus laptop is you can tweak the fan curves, you can tweak the kind of the boost kind of internally as you were kind of doing with kind of a normal desktop as well. So there's a lot of additional things that are quite handy with it. Yeah, and I've just been playing kind of basic Genshin Impact, obviously playing Counter-Strike just to get the frame count high, and just to test it as well. So, but although the other interesting thing that's been observed with these ones is that the way that I guess the AMD kind of setup is, as well as with NVIDIA, what they've done is they've used is it GeForce Optimize or something?
It's Optimus.
Yeah. That's the one. So you're actually getting less frames, but it allows you to then switch to when you're not needing the additional graphics power to switch down into the basic kind of onboard graphics. So then it saves a lot of battery and power. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, these sorts of smart power saving, performance boosting kind of technologies are really the way forward for for small form factor PCs, which is what a laptop is really.
Yeah, and the other thing I've noticed is just that it doesn't heat up as much. All my other gaming laptops, I've always bought a cooling kind of base just to make sure that it doesn't overheat, give it enough airflow and that sort of stuff. This one, I have put the cooler on it, but I don't think it actually needs it. The cooling design on this on the Asus laptop is pretty decent. And I've kept it there for now, but it runs relatively silent. It will boost up as necessary. I haven't boosted it further. I just kept it on a performance kind of setting, and you can use it on a silent setting as well. So there's quite a lot of things that you can tweak to it. But yeah, definitely very happy with the laptop and the display. The display is really great. It's the first time I've started to really see these performance kind of screens on gaming laptops. Or maybe I've just been out of that market for some time, but this one is really good. It does feel really good on like Counter-Strike. It feels extremely responsive on those sorts of games.
It's 300 hertz at the end of the day. It's nothing to be sniffed at.
But
But on the thermals, and a lot of it is down to the 7nm process, and we know the power efficiency of that thing. I don't know as much about the NVIDIA GPUs, but I actually heard Ampere was, again, a bit more power efficient. It's on a better note.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at, there's some good, so if you look on things like, so I did a lot of research, obviously, before purchasing, but if you look at places like notebookcheck.net, which is one of my favorite kind of sites to look at, because laptop graphics is not going to be the same as your desktop graphics, even although they brand it identically in some, with the same naming.
Yeah, it's no way.
Yeah,
no
so if
way.
you took like the 3070 on the laptop, then it's essentially equivalent to a 2070 on the desktop.
Yeah, you go kind of one level down mostly. I think from what I know, Al, it's like a 3080 on a laptop is
It's
mostly
probably
equivalent to a
desktop 3070.
3070.
Yeah,
So you kind of like take it one peg down.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
that's
mean,
roughly about right. Yeah.
but a lot of it is how you can push through these mobile devices.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing that the thing that you need to be very careful of if you're buying a kind of the latest gaming laptop at the moment is the TDP, the way that the graphics card, the power, the kind of power input that goes into those graphics cards is restricted, which will mean there'll be no way you can actually get to the performance levels of one that is completely unlocked.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it seems a bit variable now as well, and a little bit tied to your cooling design, the size of the chassis, whether it can manage heat. And again, you portable device, you've got to account for battery life.
Yeah.
Unless you're planning to kind of, like these massive, thick desktop replacements, have it plugged into the wall most of the time. I mean, if you're going to do that, you might as well get a desktop.
Yeah. But I guess I was kind of split in between whether to get a laptop again or get another desktop. But because I think in the situation at the moment was with the desktop market really struggling to build something of decent value, when I looked at the full package of the laptop, a really good, nice, efficient processor, a nice, nice kind of up-to-date kind of graphics card, and a really good cooling system, and a very nice screen. I was just like, this makes a huge amount of sense. Kind of went for it like on that basis.
I mean, was it MSRP?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's interesting because the UK market is, I don't know how they price it all the time or where they ship it in from, but I think it's technically MSRP for the UK. But I think it's, if you do the sort of dollar, US dollar to GBP equivalent, I think it's just 1-for-1 rather than the true exchange rate.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they've kind of done. That I kind of covered them for it.
Yeah, but it wasn't really marked up like GPUs.
Yeah, it didn't
CPUs,
seem like it. So that's why I looked at it from a value perspective, and it just made the most sense.
Well, that's good to hear, actually.
Yeah. But I think that was the same discussion we had last time around. The whether the PS5 would be raised in prices because of the lack of desktop availability. In theory, I guess with desktop unavailability, then whether the laptops would end up being forced up again because of maybe demand is just skyrocketing.
Yeah, there are different levels, aren't there? Seems like supply for CPUs and GPUs are massively constrained. But you've got multiple factors, including the pandemic, including mining, including, I guess, silicon production.
Yeah.
Then you got the consoles, also constrained, but people are able to get them. I mean, I got one. So on that front, difficult to get, but doesn't feel it's as difficult. If you know what I mean.
I think the supply is slowly coming back. I've been seeing stock coming back in slowly and trickling through, and at some point, there'll be a point where where there's probably enough of it in the market, especially with the limited. I still think there's a few sort of key titles on both the PS5 and the Xbox that would push even higher demand as soon as we get to that point. But maybe it's fine in the current situation whilst the supply is quite limited.
Yeah. I mean, look, end of the day, it's good to see that AMD have got, let's say, a foot in the door in terms of kind of high-end laptops. More competition in the mobile space is, good. More competition, full stop, is good.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think of it more from the perspective of kind of innovation. And yeah, you want to keep these companies on their toes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These companies who we buy these products off, when it's all said and done, they're not necessarily for us, if you know what I mean. To have competition out there to, push them is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I think what we haven't seen, obviously, right now is kind of AMD laptops with RDNA 2.
Yes. Yeah.
The mobile RDNA 2 chips are coming out second half of this year. And to a degree, that's when I think it's actually going to get really interesting. I kind of put out a video just talking about this. There's all these interesting technologies, and AMD are not the only ones doing it.
Yeah.
Nvidia do it. I'm sure Intel have got their own thing going on, and it's all just clever, sensible innovations to get a bit more power, out of these small. They're relatively they're smaller obviously they're physically smaller, but they're smaller devices.
Yeah.
So AMD, to my mind anyway, they seem to be quite big on, let's say, having an all AMD kind of device. So let's say it started with what they've done with APUs.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming they got some learnings there.
Yeah.
They can reuse. Then obviously those APUs made it into consoles. They've got real kind of APUs on computers. But on the laptop space, they were kind of talking about stuff like Smart Shift. SAM could be also quite interesting. That smart memory access, access memory.
Yeah.
Let me correct myself. And to my mind, these are all innovations and technology that's just designed to draw out a bit more out of the hardware you've got.
Yeah.
Without just basically pushing more power through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Driving the efficiency. I think the advantage is that because of the same company, you'd expect their drivers, the synergies that you have with your teams, to hopefully drive that and that improvement centrally. So I think they do have that kind of advantage behind there. That is kind of just being part of that same team, part of that same thing. They want to drive those additional efficiencies because it's almost like cross-selling, right? Because by making your CPU work better with your own GPU, then you're kind of cross-selling to say, here's a performance boost that we can sell to you, and it's technically for free, but you've got to buy the same brand of.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, to a degree, that's going to be their unique selling point. But yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. And you're right. I mean, you would think that, and let's say all of these components, you need to validate them. Yeah. But if you just validate it against your own products, that's got to be easier.
Yeah.
Than you going out and validating against every other CPU, GPU that's out there. I don't think they're promising any of that.
Yeah.
The drivers as well to get this stuff working efficiently. That's got to be an advantage.
Yeah.
And really, I'm sure PC Windows fans won't like me to say this, but it's very Apple. Yeah, do you know what I mean? In terms of what they're doing, they can, to a degree, AMD are starting to control part of the ecosystem that they can control to get a bit more efficiency about with what they've got. If it works out well, then the results will kind of speak for for itself.
Yeah, and it looks like the Nvidia deal with ARM is looking likely to pull through at the rate that I'm seeing it. So that'll be interesting to see what happens with what they want to do with ARM chips and Nvidia as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be a factor on the enterprise, but also I think let's not forget Windows. There's an ARM version of Windows, so that that's there or thereabouts. But yeah, I mean, I was just very excited to see that AMD finally making inroads into high-end laptops, and to be honest, that's the laptop that I could want to purchase. But all these clever little innovations that not only AMD but Nvidia, Intel are creating, that's what we want to kind of see, really.
Yeah, it's definitely a good market, I think, at the moment. It's just such a really good generational leap. The efficiencies you get, it just makes a lot of sense.
Funny about efficiency. I did actually. I mean, we know it's well documented. PS5, Xbox Series X, very comparable performance.
Yeah.
PS5 is actually outperforming, I think, the Xbox Series X in a lot of, let's say, games from actually a frame rate perspective. So I kind of wondered why. You come out with all these outlandish theories. it's got infinity cache. It's got some secret something or another, right? It's got this, it's got that, right? But the reality is, it's probably a lot to do with the PS5's clock speed.
Yeah.
But the PS5 has actually also got a variant of Smart Shift.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of wonder if that is that actually is something as simple as that, which AMD have promised that, could deliver you up to 14% gains in performance. Is that it? Is that the secret sauce? That's not really that secret. Do you know what I mean?
I think they were very open about it in the designs, right? I think both of them have got something similar. I think maybe PS5 a bit more, but I think they were definitely pushing these synergies that they were having. And no doubt, AMD has just taken that same thing and pushing it for their desktop and laptop offering. Because why not take advantage of the technology that they developed with Sony?
Well, I think it was an AMD tech that Sony adapted. Yeah, I don't know if the Xbox has it. I think but be interesting to see if it did.
Yeah.
For me, that if the PS5 is truly getting an advantage from that, then Smart Shift should be a nailed-on, almost must-have in your AMD laptop. I mean, it's like free performance because just being smart about power delivery.
Yeah. Although I think was it Nvidia? I think Nvidia was looking at it with being able to enable it, or maybe it was Intel chips that were looking to be able to enable it, because I think there are techniques that they can do to have something that's similar. And obviously, it is about the improvements that they can do with the drivers that they've got across them as well.
Yeah, Nvidia have got dynamic boost. That's their variant of it.
Yeah.
It works a little bit differently. I think.
Yeah.
Though I haven't really kind of looked at any kind of detail. AMD's Smart Shift is a bit more hardware level, much as I understand it. I think they've just given a means for the CPU and GPU to kind of interoperate and talk to one another. What I understood about it, you can actually change the power delivery in 2 milliseconds. Yeah, within a frame. It seems quite flexible and powerful from that perspective.
Yeah.
Be worth kind of seeing how that develops, really, because we don't have a lot. We're obviously not seeing any or a lot of laptops with that technology, because there's simply not a lot of laptops with both an AMD CPU and an AMD GPU.
Yeah, not yet anyway. So it will be interesting to see what that looks like.
So, with that said, I think it's time to move on to our next topic.